or I was tired of working on, or I brought in some of the things that I carved out of rotten wood, and I'm amazed. Everything that I've antiqued is sold, including this little fella is, those of you who were at Pheasant Fest saw this. This was one of the example birds. I had it there, and I knew I had to antique something for this demonstration, so I beat it up a little bit, and this one's already got a bid for $50. Those are the ones that sell for $1 million, and we're going to be talking tonight about working antiques. 150-year-old, these decoys, the masons are about 80 years old, and you can see the kind of damage that they sustain because they're working birds. And so we're going to try to make a decoy that looks like a working bird. If you want to make a decoy that looks like a mint bird, it's a lot easier process than you just do the last couple steps we'll be talking about. The used antique decoy, the kind that I like to produce, the kind with very simple paint patterns, and they're typical of the birds that were hunted over most places except the rich clubs. Now, if you go near Chicago, there were a lot of rich people and a lot of ducks, and there's some rich clubs, and you look at the Illinois River style, and there's a lot more work that went into those decoys. Come out here to Minnesota, and there's a lot less work put in because they were just to impress the ducks. They were carving decoys, they weren't carving ducks. First thing, Phil has got a surface preparation device here to demonstrate. You've got to prepare the surface before you get started.
So you got down there, this is the kind of texture I really like myself. Again, these are used working decoys. They're not what you call a duck. And this is white cedar that I rasped out. And this was just from the model that we had down at the Pheasant Fest. It's a little Buffy, used the same model, same head. The only thing I actually did on this, I extended the tail a little bit and a little longer bill on it. But this is all rasped out and a little bit of gouge work on it. We thought we were going to be doing some demonstrating down there, so I was going to make more with files and stuff like that, but we didn't get a chance to do any of that. But that's the same model as we had at Pheasant Fest. Now that one, I used a file on it to get the texture on it. This one was actually sanded down, and I just wiped it off with a wet rag, and it makes that white cedar just stand right up, and it gives it a lot of texture, as you might see on, you can see the grain and stuff. These, it doesn't stick up too much on those, but.
If you want to take some wax at that, take some wax at that. And Bill has a sandbox that he uses to remove paint. You want to show that?
Yeah. I'll give you a little painting technique here. I use washes like this, and Denny showed me to do this here. You take a wash, which is thin. This is all I use are oil paints. I don't use any acrylics or anything. This is all oil paint. So this is thinner in paint and in a real loose mix. And you start out, once you got a bunch of grooves and stuff in your decoy, and you'll wipe the whole thing down with a wash. And you let that sit, and what that does, it'll darken all these little cuts and grooves and stuff like that, and it gives it an old effect right there. After that's dry, I use a real light wash on, like this one, we'll just say this, white and black. And I used linoleum, what's that stuff? The flat black and flat white. Rust-Oleum. Just Rust-Oleum on this one. And just to make it easy, and you just put on a light wash, let it dry, and you take a sandbox. And I left this, I didn't age these lines on here at all, but I'll show you how that works. This whole thing I just rubbed in the sandbox with a Brillo pad, basically.
I use washes are, you know, just a little bit wetter than paint out of the jar, and put it on, wipe it off. You wipe it off, and it gets into the cracks. It stains the surface just a little bit, and I use raw umber for the first wash because you want to darken up those spots. And when that's dry, I hit it with a wash of raw sienna to yellow it a little bit. When that's dry, then I lightly sand it, and for subsequent washes, I use the raw umber, the raw sienna, or burnt sienna, or burnt umber. Next time you see a Mason decoy that's in good shape, I noticed the white on Mason decoys brush that, you know, those old brushes that are kind of ratty at the end, and I get it. It's a moist brush, not a fully charged brush, and not a dry brush, but a moist brush, and I just stipple it more in places where it maybe doesn't look dark enough, and then I pat it dry with a paper towel, and that spreads it, and you can control the color a little bit better that way. And then when everything's dry, I hit it with a coat of instant patina. And this is Howard's Restore a Finish. I think this came from an antique shop or from Rockler Hardware, somewhere like that. There's a number of different shades. Just pick a shade. You can use other things. Mattis recommends Bullseye Shellac. I think that's a little overkill. But this produces kind of a nice soft finish to it.
Not a shine though? No shine?
Not a shine, it's kind of a, I don't know, a gleam more, or just a little bit of shine, I guess.
Denny says anything on the internet with a shine sells good.
This is a Pecor Fox canvas back. This was repainted at some time as a bluebill, and I just repainted it. It's maybe even still a little bit tacky, and I used a little different technique. This one also, instead of white, I used a Rust-Oleum gloss almond, and I think that's it produces kind of a nice finish on there. Pass that one around. This is an old Michigan bird. I bought it, somebody had taken it down, so it was completely bare. And so I thought, well, I'll refinish that and I'll antique it. Now, I hit that with the gloss almond, and then just one rub of the raw umber wash, and wiped it off. And I think that's gonna, that's nice. nice in there. I like this. Do a little tune, maybe we can have an orchestra.
Start playing music.
There you go.
I've got a workbench that's got a 2x4s on it, and they're from about 1920, and they've got old stained paint on them. And I like to rub my decoys on those 2x4s, especially the edges, any edges around the top, any crowns and bill and stuff like that, the tail, just rub them on the 2x4, and it takes no paint. It takes some old goose decoy here. It was already weathered. I painted it, and then I put it in the sandbox, and that's come out of
Did everybody get a handout? Anybody need a handout?